So if you're looking to buy or sell in the Fayetteville surrounding areas, you may be looking at some challenges. With interest rates being at an all-time high in the past 2 decades and we're still low inventory, it's kind of a crazy, weird market that we're in right now. I'll give you some tips and advice, and hopefully it can help you make a decision of what you're going to do next.
I don't know what to do. What do I do?
If you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing in the Fayetteville surrounding areas, please reach out to the team and I. We would love to help you. Call, text, or emails. We get hundreds of phone calls every day and emails, and we love it. We would love to help you next. So the first challenge you may run into are home prices are too high right now. So let's go all the way back to 2019 when I started my real estate career. Home prices in Fayetteville, North Carolina on an average were $117,000. Now, at the time of this video in October of 2023, the average price home is $215,000. And the average home price for Raleigh, which is right up the street from us, was $259,000 in 2019. Now in 2023, it's up to $459,000. In Durham in 2019, it was $250,000. Now it's up to $420,000. I hear a lot of people say, I'm going to wait for the prices to come down and wait for the market to crash. I don't think the market's going to crash. We are still low inventory, and I'll talk about that in just a minute, but we're still low inventory. So kind of hard for something to crash when you got nothing of it. So, supply and demand. Supply, we are still low inventory. High demand is still there for houses. So I keep hearing say, I'm going to wait for the market to crash. I'm going to wait for, prices to come down. I don't see that happening right now. Not a wizard. I can't look into the future. I don't have a crystal ball. But with the graph I just showed you, since 2019 till now, the prices have only increased. They're not decreased. And we're still short inventory. So you can't have a market crash without inventory. There's nothing there, or a lack of inventory. And I'll talk about inventory a little bit later. That's why the housing prices are so high, because we have no inventory. So we've got more demand than we have supply. My advice to you, if you are wanting to buy a house, then maybe you should buy the house. I know you're thinking, oh, realtor telling me to buy a house. I've told plenty of people not to buy a house if they can't afford it. So it's totally your decision, obviously. But if you're waiting for prices to drop, I don't see it happening. Are interest rates going to drop? Yes, eventually what goes up must come down. Yes, interest rates are going to drop. And we have a market, what we call market correction, where it's just going to be steady for right now. I don't see home prices going up. I don't see them going down. I think it's going to be very steady, smooth line. So right now, everybody's waiting just like you are, and they're going to wait for the market to closely crash, wait for interest rates to come down. When that happens, we're going to be back in the same situation we're just in. It's kind of like spinning our wheels and we're stuck in mud, and you can only imagine what I'm trying to picture for you is everybody's going to wait. And then when rates drop by 1%, from 8% to about 7% or 6.5%, then everybody's gonna jump right back on and try and start buying again. Then we're gonna be in the same boat again. We have competition, and then the prices will keep going back up again because the demand is still there. So my advice to you now, if you can afford to buy now, then of course buy now before that happens. You can always lower your interest rates at a later date. You can always refinance. But if you can't afford to buy now, then it's not time to buy.
I just can't do it.
Next thing I'm talking about is going to be competition. So I know I hit a little bit on this a few minutes ago, but right now in the Fayetteville surrounding areas, the competition for homes is not as high as it was 6 months to almost a year ago, where I had 5 to 10 buyers bidding on one home, and only one person can win this offer. So they were coming in with high due diligence money, high earnest money over asking price, asking for no repairs to be done to the house just so they can win this offer. And then I don't see that as much as I was. There's still competition for that price right home in a great location. You're still going to see a little bit of competition there, but it's not going to be that I've seen 5 to 10 offers on one home. I see it more being maybe 1 or 2, or maybe not even that many, where it sits on the market just a little bit longer. Our average days on market about 3 months ago was 7 to 10 days, and it's still that, but me personally, I'm seeing it even a little longer, 2 or 3 weeks, maybe up to a month sitting on the market. So if you're one of those buyers who doesn't want to compete or be in a bidding war, now is your time to jump on this if you can. I know I talked about earlier, if you can afford to buy a house and afford to buy the house now is the time. Interest rates are high, I got you, I totally understand. and I feel your pain, and I hope they come down too. But, once they come down, like I said earlier, everybody's gonna jump back on the same bandwagon and try and buy a house. You're gonna be stuck now in competing. So you gotta make a decision. Do you want to have a high competition with lower interest rates possibly, where 10 people are bidding on one home and only one person can win? Or would you rather pay a little bit high interest rates right now if you can afford it, and then refinance, and where you're have less competition or no competition? And if you're thinking about selling your home, definitely make sure your house is priced right. Get with a local realtor, let them do a competitive market analysis on your home, and listen to their advice. I know a lot of people think their house is worth sometimes more than it really is, but listen to the realtor. They're gonna give you good advice. I hope they give you good advice, and have your house priced right, so not sitting on the market for 2-3 months. And I understand, you may think, well, my neighbor Joe just sold his house last year, 6 months ago, for $260, $270, whatever the price may be. And my house is nicer than neighborhood Joe.
Yep, mine's better.
Well, it may be, but we're talking about a different time then also, when interest rates were just a little bit lower. So you got to roll through time. You should have sold your house 6 months ago to a year ago instead of now. That boat has unfortunately already passed. Next thing to talk about is going to be interest rates. And at the time of this video, it is now the end of October 29th, 2023. Interest rates are up to 8%, the highest it's been in 2 decades. So this is keeping a lot of people on the sidelines. I've got a lot of buyers myself who are just waiting for the interest rates to drop. About 4 or 5 clients who are just waiting for it to get a little lower. And I totally understand. Like I said earlier, if you can't afford to buy the house now, then you don't need to buy the house now. But if you can afford to buy it, get at the higher interest rate, you can always refinance. I know, yes, it's going to cost money to refinance it, but in the long run, it depends on your situation. That may benefit you, it may not benefit you. It's going to be your decision. Definitely talk to a local lender. If you don't have a local lender, reach out to me. I've got a preferred lender I can definitely recommend to you. But talk to them and strategize what you should do. Each person is different. Each situation is different. There was an old saying going around, you probably heard it, where it said, marry the house, date the rate. A lot of realtors are making fun of that, but let me explain more what that means. Basically, you buy the house at, we'll say, $300,000, just for argument's sake, and your rates are 8%. Yes, very high. But the house price is not moving. Well, it's going to move when you make your mortgage payments, but it's $300,000 no matter what. Yeah, your rates are 8%. But if you refinance in 6 months to a year, when rates come back down, then you maybe get an interest rate of 6%. So, that's something you should think about. Can you afford 8% now? If you can, and suck it up for a little bit, then, it gets lower to 7%, 6%, or even lower than that. That's something you can, just an advantage for you, or something you can avoid with this competition. And if you're one of those lucky people who happen to buy a house in 2019, 2020, 2021, when their interest rates were like 2 to 3%. Yeah, the good old days.
That's what I remember.
And you are thinking about selling now, but you're like, wait a minute, I don't want to buy a house at 8%. I can't blame you. I wouldn't want to either. And I see a lot of people are, they bought that house and that they bought, 2, 3, 4 years ago. They don't like it as much as it did then, but they couldn't pass up that low interest rates. So now they're sitting in a house they don't really like too much, just because why would they want to go from 2 to 3% to 8%? The inventory is low because of that. And they're not going to buy anything because they're waiting for the insurance to come back down. Again, that puts a strain on inventory also. Next thing I talk about is going to be low inventory. So now you take a look at this graph. Back in 2017 in Fayetteville, North Carolina, we had an average of 36 homes on the market back in 2017. And typically in our local market, we need 4,000 to 5,000 active homes on the market to be considered a balanced market, where it's equal for both buyers and sellers. Typical average time on market is maybe 30 to 60 days. When you're in a balanced market, each area is going to be different. And if you look at this graph, right now, this time, it's shot down to 1,200 active homes on the market right now. So that's half the inventory we had in 2017. crazy, weird market that we're in right now. Like I said, we're still low inventory, but the problem is the high interest rates. So we got buyers on the sideline waiting for the interest rates to go down. We still don't have inventory, so it goes right back into that. You know, if the rates drop by half a point or even a point, I see all of a sudden everyone jumping in and trying to, put an offer on a home. Also puts a lot of sellers on the sideline because now they don't want to put their house on the market because they don't want it to sit for a long time. Or they're hoping, like I said earlier, for that price that neighborhood Joe got, for $50,000, $60,000 more for asking price a year ago, 6 months ago. Now here's some things you as a buyer can do to possibly, hopefully get that home that you want, even though it's at a high interest rates.
Tell me more.
And one of them is to possibly have the seller of the home give you some seller concessions or pay your closing costs. So let's say you're buying a house that's $300,000 and you ask for 3% of the, of closing costs of the home. So that'd be $9,000. Asking for that instead of a lower price, because now you don't have to come out of pocket for that money. Something, definitely you and your realtor and your lender need to sit down and discuss. You can reach out to me if you have any questions about that. Another thing you can do is buy down some points of yourself. Let's say you talk to your local lender and get some discount points down and buy some of that at high interest rates. It's gonna cost you a little bit of money now, obviously, but in the long run, it could, definitely benefit you because you got it at lower interest rates. We've also got a program called a 2-1 buy down program, and how that works is like this. Let's say you get locked in at 8% interest rate. Okay, right now, and if you participate in the 2-1 buy down program, how it works is your first year, your interest rates are at 6%. You bought it down 2 points temporarily, bought it down for 2 points. Second year is at 7%. In the third year, it's back up to 8%. Obviously, what you're hoping for is that rates will drop down in that 2 years. So if they drop down to 7% or 7.5%, something like that, maybe it's time for you to jump on that and refinance it. Then you're locked in at new rate. And the good thing is this, you can ask for seller closing costs to temporarily buy down your points. Another good thing is, as a buyer, you're not looking at it as a high of due diligence money or earnest money. Like I said, there's some competition on homes there, so that's something you got to look at. Talk to your real estate agent or realtor about that, and set up some kind of plan of what you should do. And a lot of homes aren't asking for over asking price anymore. So definitely look for a house that's been on the market for 2-3 weeks to a month. And, it's been on the market a little longer. The seller could be in desperation. I don't know. They could, have moved PCS to another area and need to sell his home because they have to buy a home where they're at. Or the last thing they want is a mortgage payment, 2 mortgage payments, or even a mortgage and a rent payment wherever they had moved to. Are you thinking of relocating to the Fayetteville surrounding areas, or are you about to PCS to Fort Liberty? Well, I've got just the thing for you. The team and I have actually taken time to create the ultimate relocation guide, which is meant to save you hours of research, and I've linked it down below in the description. And the best part of this guide is 100% free. Yes, you heard me right, free. Just click the link in the description or the top pinned comment. I hope this helps you, and please reach out if you have any questions. Now, as a seller, what I'd recommend for you is, same kind of tips. Definitely, you got to price your home right, even if it's not priced at what you'd like it to be. If it was worth $300,000 6 months, a year ago, you may want to come in at $290,000, $295,000, or maybe come in at $300,000 and offer seller concessions, offer to pay their closing costs, things like that. Because the inventory is still low, like I said, but interest rates are keeping people at bay. So you've got to, think smart about this and see what works best for you. If you're okay, you're like, hey, I don't care if it's just on the market for 6, 7, 8 months, I'm not in no rush, then obviously, that changes our game plans. But if you're in a boat of, hey, I'm moving to another state and I need to buy a house there, I need to sell my house here so I can buy my house there, then that's something you're gonna have to think about and, strategize what's best for you. If you enjoyed this video, please check out this video right here that YouTube recommends. And if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in the Fayetteville surrounding areas, please reach out to the team and I. We would love to help you. See you guys in the next video.